today we will be looking at something I entered into the jam and just different effects and aspects of it. So this is what it looks like. There you go. So first thing is probably to look at the I'll turn that off. If you look at the ground, it kind of, the lighting shifts and stuff, and makes it look like there's some watery stuff going on up there, and you can see it actually through the surface of the water. So first I'll try and make that. So for that it's fairly simple, but it's, yeah, let's just put this out first. Use a fog gadget, and for this I put it on a square cube thingy and give it an area like this. And if I make it super thin, and I'll take off the fade, what's it called? The fall off. By you can adjust the, when there's a zone of any kind, you can adjust the main zone by dragging the sides out with R2, or you can hold L1 and then you're affecting the fall off. So that's what I'm doing here. Now if I make that really thin, just about thin enough like that, and turn the density way up, you can see it's actually casting shadows because it's absorbing the light from above it. So if I actually make that black, I don't actually think that affects the shadows, but yeah. So you can see it better. And I'll make it a bit thicker. Up. Okay. So the key to getting some like light patches over here is to, there you go, give it some noise strength. So noise strength, if we have a look from above, then while I'm hovering over this, it hides the zone and you see the actual fog. Then I can increase the noise strength, and you can start seeing gaps in it, and you can see like it's some huge randomized image, basically 3D image, because it actually goes through the actual whole volume. And yeah, so you can like scale up that kind of randomized image, and now you can see it's kind of swirling and moving around by itself. This is affected by the noise speed, so if I put it down to 0, then I believe it is actually moving just very slowly or something. Is it? Maybe it's not. But then as you increase it, obviously it morphs quicker. So then if we look down here, we're getting that same shadow pattern on the ground. I didn't notice that before. Yeah, so it doesn't like animate if the tweak menu is closed. If you don't hover over it, it doesn't animate. But while you're hovering over here, it kind of previews that speed change. So so it's kind of static, but then when you preview it, you can see it all moving. So then you can adjust like the scale and the noise strength. Maybe you want it generally dimmer, and the speed, and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. And obviously, if you just play time, that will run it as well. I'll get rid of the hover effect. So then it looks like oh, the phone's going off. So then it looks like there are waves above. If you look at like footage of the ocean floor, it's got this kind of shadowy effect, morphing and stuff because of physics. Physics is happening. One thing I did do is so in my fly through we kind of start. Whoa, it's not grabbing onto the fog. Okay, we start looking at it from above like that, and then we zoom down. But if we saw this like huge black fog everywhere, it would be really obvious what's going on, and it wouldn't look very realistic at all. So what I had was from the global settings and the camera transform. If you grab a splitter, then we can put that, put the camera transform into there. That gives us a position and a rotation and a scale. Put it down there. Then we split the position to get X, Y, and Z. It calls these A, B, and C because it's like a general purpose three-way vector type of wire. But in this case, they represent X, Y, and Z. Or Z. I don't know which one I meant to say. Then you can have a tag to represent like where the quote-unquote top of this is, or rather the bottom of like the surface would be down here, just below the fog. So if we place it around there, that should be okay. And then we do the same thing. We get the scene space transform. That's the same type as this, so we can get the XYZ from that as well. And then we can just use a calculator to see if that Y is up and down, so it increases as you go up, and then compare that to that Y. So if we're up here, then we're going to have a bigger Y number for the camera than this point, and then when down here we'll have a lower number. So we actually want to say if it's lower, then turn on the fog. So now let's play, so it's not there at all. As we move down, it turns it on at the right time, and we start seeing the shadows.